I've been playing Outlaws, Star Wars Outlaws, for months now, and with the new DLC out, I thought it was time to show off my new Sabacc deck. Yes, I 3D printed a Sabacc deck. I didn't create any of these files, and I'll put links to all those gifted creators down below. I got them all off MakerWorld and I printed them on my Bamboo, my brand new Bamboo P1S with an AMS. That's an automatic material system, which means I can print multiple colours without manually swapping the filament. Now, if you don't have one of these, I suspect that you could do this with manual filament swaps. I know people who do it on Discord, I follow them, and they do amazing work with manual stops. So it is maybe possible without an AMS. I haven't tried it. But with one, it was so easy. So I'm going to run you through quickly how I made my own Sabacc deck. So the first thing to say is all these tiles are available, links down below, and I managed to screw them up. I screwed up the cards and I managed to change all the colours, and it was somewhere between converting from the A1 profile to the P1S profile, and I think I had the wrong layer height. So I did have to tweak some of the colours. I also had 4 test prints. The first I printed with the card face up, and it was just a bit rough. The second I printed with the card face down, and I used a textured plate on both of them, and I could just about cope with the texture on the back of it, but I really didn't like it on the face. Cue test print number 3, and for this I printed it face down on a smooth plate, so I got a nice smooth card finish. I also switched to a Arachne slicer, which just uses a slightly different way of doing the lines when you're printing, so hopefully filled in some of the holes I was getting. I think it looks a lot better. Finally, for test print number 4, which is the one I actually used, I had to put some black through the middle so the light wouldn't shine through. Now let me just talk about the colours. I actually used the RBS 3D World profile, and in this profile it has fewer colours. It doesn't have any black on the face of the actual card, which to me was more like the game. It's really easy to change the colours out on the Bamboo system. So I used matte white for the white faces, I used matte black for the block out layers to stop them being see-through, which are in the middle. I used dark brown for the backs, and I used lemon yellow for the front of the cards. When it came to do the brown deck, I just missed off the lemon yellow and used brown, white and black. All in all, I wanted a slightly dull feel, and I felt that the matte filament gave it that slight dullness that I wanted because the cards aren't vibrant in the game. With the cards printed, it was time to do all of the accessories. First up is the holder, and this is done by the actual designer who did the cards, so it fits them perfectly. It holds them for transport and you can pop it out, and it has the 2 reject piles on the sides just like in the game. This is printed in Polyterra Mixed Berries, which is a mix of a reddish colour and a purplish colour, and it looked really good in the photos. It was used by the designer who did the box that I used. It just didn't look like that when I did it. As you can see from the surface here, it looks really patchy. You can see the lines from the diagonal infill. Need to work on that. Whilst I had that filament loaded, time to print the box. It doesn't look like the picture, does it, my box? It really doesn't. I don't know whether it was a slightly different filament. I used the one he said, but mine came out looking like this. I may end up reprinting it. I also didn't have that lovely little bit he had that had a nick out of it, which looked really cool. But anyway, it's a great accessory and it does fit everything. But I wasn't very happy with that pattern, that diagonal. It just looked naff. So for the top, having printed the base at this point and the holder, I decided to use 2 different patterns. I played around in the slicer and I tried the octagonal on the top surface, which is actually the inside of the box. And I used Hilbert on the first layer, which was actually the top of the box. With a box, time to fill it. The dice. Oh, I tried gold. This is Bamboo Gold. Yeah, not that great. So I tried Bamboo Bronze, and I really liked this. It looks much more like the game colour. But I made the mistake and printed the first one on a textured plate absent-mindedly. Yeah, I had to reprint with a flat one, so it just looks the same. Then it was up with the shift tokens, and I used bamboo silver. These are just basic PLA. They're not metallic particularly, not a specialist filament, just a basic PLA. Came out really well, but it took 2 days to print. And again, I forgot to put them on a texture plate, but I used a brim to hold them down. Finally, it was time to do the tax chips. And this is the only time I actually needed to do much other than just put them on the printer. These are a 2-part print. The base is royal copper by Overture, and the top is silver by Bamboo. Clip them together and you're done. But remember, it's not just about your filament, it's also about your print settings. This is an octagon base layer, and it's on a textured plate to give it that little bit of extra sparkle. And we're done. That's it. It's a really simple project. I had a great deal of fun playing around, learning about my new printer, learning about some other things, and I've got some amazing ideas now for signs and billboards and all the sorts of things I can do with multicolour printing. So keep tuned and subscribe, like, notify, all that kind of malarkey, and you'll see them coming along at some point. In the meanwhile, here's some glamour shots for you.